Greetings, pirates and privateers. Grim here, coming at you live, once again from Uncle Ted's scrapyard out on Omicron. We're here for episode 2 of our capital ship tutorial. So this is where we got to last time, and I've had some time to think, I've had some time to look at it. I've had some time to fight with a tree over here that absolutely refuses to die. And decided on making a couple of design changes. Now, you're going to run into this all the time when you're designing something on Planet, or if you're doing it in creative mode. You're going to get partway through the design, you're going to find something that you don't necessarily agree with, and you're going to go back and change it up a little bit. So I am going to do just that. So we're just going to go back to the base. Yep, that's where we had everything stored, so we'll connect up to you. Go down and get our steel blocks. I'll show you what I mean in a second here. Now, when we were first working on this thing, I put the container controllers here on either side, so one is the harvest, because it's going to be a minor ship. The other side's just general cargo, so that we can carry around what we need. But I think I put them on a little too quick, because, so I get the front of this extended out here a little bit more. What I forgot to do was add a little bit of manufacturing space. So we started at the back of the ship, if you remember. Here's our cargo bay, big enough to fit the hover van in. There's the elevator that we put in to go up to the future bridge. And then I immediately started working right away on engineering, and realized my mistake. We need to have a part of the ship that we can use to put ammunition together, to build upgrades for whatever craft that we have in the back, on the top, on the deck, whatever it is. So all this stuff up in the front, including the big warp drive and all that stuff, we're going to take it out. We're going to move it forward a little bit, and we're going to add a manufacturing section in right here. So that's what we're going to focus in on for this episode, and see if we can't get this thing looking a little bit closer to the finished product. So let's get that warp drive back, that block 2, you, and we're going to get the Pentaxa tank, generator, fuel tank. I think we filled these with a bunch, didn't we? Yeah. Okay, let's put that back into the base storage. Yeah, that's fine. And throw out all that juicy fuel so we don't lose it. Because once again, this is an actual playthrough, and I don't want to waste any resources. Alright, you, and all of you guys. Oh, I should check and see how much ammo I've got for that thing. 2 left. Alright. Yeah, there was a good reminder there. This is a Reforged Eden 2 build. So if you're playing vanilla, sorry, but this might not work exactly the same for you. A lot of the same design principles can be used. Manufacturing, and then engineering, and then front of the boat, and all that kind of stuff. But, yeah, just keep in mind, certain tech won't work if you're playing the vanilla game. Now, you see me repairing the ship, that's because, again, because we're actually playing a playthrough here, I got bombed. And I continue to get bombed time and time and time again. They just won't leave me alone. Now, these 2 beautiful beasts are what are going to go inside our ship. So this is the deconstructor, useful for tearing apart all the bits and pieces. And this is an advanced constructor, and it's useful for building most of the bits and pieces. I didn't want to go universal because I didn't want to get too far ahead of myself. And as a matter of fact, I might just take that large constructor over there and stick it in this boat and see if we can make it a true starter capital ship, something that you can get off of the ground with relatively quickly, and not have to worry too much about unlocking too many things. Just wanted to get a look at the footprint of these, and if I am right, that's 2. That's 2. And that's 2. And the side on you is 2 as well. Okay, so that's 2 by 2 by 2 for both of them. And that model over there, pretty much the same model as that one over there. They take up the same footprint. So that's what we're going to need to have for space in here. Now that presents a problem because the whole width of our ship yeah, see, this could be interesting. How do we want to do this? 1, 2, and a hallway? I think that's the way we might have to do it. So if we went, let's pick an interesting shape so that we know what we're doing here. There, round a block. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we're gonna do it to here. There. 3, 4, and retrieve. There we go. So when we come from the back, we have Unit 1, we have Unit 2, and then a little bit of space, and then we're going to have a firewall. So the firewall is going to keep us out of radiation harm, just like it did last time. There we go. That's where we can put an armored door, and then this is where we can put the warp drive and all the other fun stuff. So, we go back to the F4 menu. Here somewhere should be all those bits and pieces. There we go. There's warp drive. We'll put you in first. See how much space we're dealing with. Ooh. That's not where I told you to go. I will admit in advance that I am at least 1 drink into the evening, and by the end of this tutorial I may be more. You have been warned. Said I was a pirate, didn't I? What's a pirate without a little rum? Anywho, there's our warp drive. And if I remember last time, we went and put the pentaxa tank at the end of it here. So we'll do the same thing again. And the other bits and pieces that we need to hide are our matter transceiver. Again, we want to put the matter transceiver at one end of the ship so we know which end of the ship to park next to a POI that we want to loot. There's our detector and our improved large generator. Have to figure out how all that's going to go together. And these guys, ammunition controller was the one that we had. That's a little different. I'm going to leave you for later. We'll take the harvest controller. The ammunition we'll think about in a bit. I don't want to give it the same amount because again, it's a starter capital. It is not a battleship, so your ammunition shouldn't be the first of your worries. I'm thinking mining stuff and the loot that you're going to get that you're going to have to carry around with you. So might just make a regular cargo controller for that as well. Oh yeah, and oxygen and fuel. Gonna need those too. Alright. Tax it up front. Now let's take a look here. So far, our boat needs to be that high to ride. Let's draw a line with our cubes. So that is the very top deck. Meaning that that could also be the ceiling across here, which means there will be a little extra space above these deconstructors and constructors. So, following that logic, if I were to say... Oh, by the way, when you want to rotate a piece around, insert and delete. Move the axis of rotation. Home and end on your keyboard. Rotate the piece. Right? So there's our first of the fuel. Don't want it right on the outside of the elevator because that could, you know, cause sunburn and mild discomfort. But directly above the constructors there, and then if we throw O2 here, which is number 7. Right up above, that will make for quite a tasty package. Could even put one more O2 cylinder or fuel tank up there. And saying that now, I wonder, taking a look at this, how do you fit into this equation? When you have something like a generator here, it will throw off radiation, but as long as you're one block away from it, which you would be if it's up there, you should be okay. So that might not be a bad place to keep that stowed. And that could leave us a little bit of playroom for up at the front of the ship here. Yes, it's all coming together. Alright, so we have a couple other pieces here that we need to figure out where we're going to stick them. Like I said, I like to put... come on. Jetpacks and their stupid running out. Near the front of the boat for the Wi-Fi. The detector, it doesn't matter where it goes, but, you know, you can just throw it right on top. Detector can wear it like a hat. And now, this is the profile of our starter ship. So there's a bit of an engineering or a creative section back here. Manufacturing, sorry. Engineering section is going to be a little further forward, and we may, depending on what level we are, I kind of forgot right now. Let's take a look, shall we? What level am I? Level 17. That means that I probably haven't unlocked capital vessel mining lasers yet. Let's have a look. Really should have done this before, but I've been drinking, so can't blame me. Light laser turrets, universal blast door, ATL, long range radar. Oh, we've gotten down to the hydroponics already. I'm sure I missed it. Where are you? There it is, laser drill module. That's level 25. So at level 25, you want laser drills on the front of this. We're not there yet, but you will get there. So what I may do by the time we get to the end of this is build a secondary cockpit up here with a nice big window so you can go asteroid mining out at the front of the ship. But that wouldn't really make it a starter CV. Well, we'll leave it up to you what you want to do. Now, give you the option, I think, That's the best way to do it. Leave a little space there to grow so that you can take this with you through a few levels and use it as a tool for the rest of the game. Yeah, that's the direction I'm going. So, I'm going to build out the bottom of this hull. Just to there. Leave that front bit hanging a bit. Right to there. Oh, you're going to be a problem again, aren't you? Or are you? Let's see. Ha ha! I defy you and your leaves, tree of Satan. Anyway. Now we gotta figure out how we're gonna deal with getting to the front of the ship, and I think it's going to be a dicey run over the warp drive if you want to get up into that front cockpit. So, that's going to take extending this wall out so we can see how far we got to go. And one of the great things about designing a capital vessel is that it doesn't have any structural integrity rules like bases do. And I'll get to bases in another tutorial, but for this one, you can leave big, heavy ends of steel hanging out like this and they won't break off. If you were to build a base like this, it would all come crumbling down. You would cry, I would cry, everybody would cry. It wouldn't be pretty. Ugly, ugly tears. But, just as a guideline, so let's see, we'll be able to run along that. I can bump up the ceiling in here if I need to with block shapes like these. Just in case. Yeah, I think that could work. So we'll put a couple of elevator blocks down here. Let's see. I think I had a couple left. I had one left. Alright, well, as a placeholder, it'll do. Another little elevator. We'll do a little corridor over the top of the warp drive up to the front section here. Nope. Lunch. I have to go pick that up later. And then another elevator here. And this might just end up being the front of the ship. That'll work out pretty nice. So that's what we're looking at now. So at this point, it's got most of its gear in on the bottom. And what I want to start doing now is working on the bridge area up at the top. And I'm not going to forget my oxygen this time. I know it's become part of the show, but I don't want it to get in the way. Oh, it's going to get in the way anyway. Okay. So, in order to start working on the bridge, we're going to get up to the top of that elevator up there. Build ourselves a floor on either side. Oh, it would help if I stayed in there. Why do you keep moving me out? Oh, this is going to make me mad. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Block for that side. Block for that side. Block over here. Block from there to here. And we're going to put the ceiling in on the hangar. Okay. So now, in essence, what we've done is given ourselves a landing pad on the back of the ship. I'm going to make use of that with our current SV. The hedgehog over here, we built in another recent episode. So, oh, it looks like I left it on too, except for the thrusters. Here we go. And that's just to make sure that I don't build so far back that I'm impeding being able to land something small on the top here. We do need to encase the top of the opening so that you don't end up suffocating, letting all the oxygen out of the ship. That'd be a bad thing. Here we go. Put you there. You there. That's going to be our entrance in. And the bridge should be just forward of that. So we're going to need to build a floor over this part. Just going to use cubes for now. So I want to keep it nice and simple. It's right up to there. Okay. And I have in my possession a nice captain's chair. So control stations are something you can have a little artistic license with. They come in a variety of configurations. This is the captain's chair. It's kind of standard, kind of a big throny type deal. I like using a cockpit. Looks a little bit more like you're actually in control of the ship and not just some mouth-breathing, finger-wagging, uniform-wearing charlatan throwing orders around. Sorry, daddy issues. This is more of a bridge for a big battle cruiser, something you'd put staff at, you know, one of the minions to run the ship. And this, well, that's a little bit more utilitarian. I like to think that this goes into a starship that has a convertible roof. So, not for us. I'm going to stick with cockpit number 1 here, and it's good to keep it close to the access point. So, if you have space to walk around, like we're going to here, there's going to be room to get by on either side. You can stick it right in front of the elevator coming up. And that way, when you come up from docking your hover vessel, you can just hit F as soon as you get to the top of the elevator and be right at the controls of your ship. So that's where we're going to fly her from. We've got the doors in. Now, it's time to start thinking about glass. And what do we have available to us? I can't even remember from last time. I should have actually paid a lot more attention. But I didn't. Sue me. Well, let's go see what I can manufacture. I like armored glass, if I can get it. It's the thick, heavy blocks, but they're made with Savium, and I don't think that I went out and got any, but let's go have a little look-see. There's our blocks. Oh yeah, we can make heavy windows. So I'm going to start with 20. So we're going to let those cook for a little bit. And think about this for a sec. because we're making a mining ship, it doesn't need to be sleek, it doesn't need to look like a sports car, it needs to be a tool. So, I'm thinking a straight up and down, full view window in the front, and a couple of side view windows ought to do just nicely for a nice, compact, bare bones basic bridge. Let's go see here. Hey, it actually let me up that time. How about that? Thanks for not being a dick. Now these windows take up half a block. So what we could do is run them straight from this wall up to this block here, because the bridge occupies a block, but we would leave half a block here and then window block, and that would be it. And that is, I think, the way that I'm going to do this, just to keep it simple. We could do it one block tall, wrap the glass all the way around, make it square so it's nice and industrial. Look a little bit like an old cargo ship. I think that might do us just fine, and I think we might have made too many windows. Let's see. Sure, we can find a use for them somewhere else. Now, we'll go with a nice square back. Alright, so that's going to go over on this side. Now, I haven't done mirroring on this tutorial yet. Kind of wondering if I should when I'm drinking. Might not be the best. We might end up with something a little bit wall-eyed perch looking. Yeah, so for today, I'm not gonna. So that goes there. Now, take the same window, flip it over, pop it on the other side. And right here, we need a different one. We need that guy. And we need him to play ball. There we go. Now, here's where the fun starts. I'm curious about the corner pieces, because there's a couple. I want to see how this window E socket works. Yeah, that's the one I'm looking for. Square. Square. And finally, you again. And that is our bridge. Now, one of the problems with this glass is that you can't see shit through it. Looks really cool. It's all tinted and all that good stuff. But really, oh, and it's missing the top part. Yeah, we're going to have to fix that. Right, didn't have the top cap. Why didn't I see that before? That's the one we want. Okay. As I was saying, can't see shit through it. Your multi-tool, though, has a nifty feature. If you right-click, hit this little circly over here, that's rotate or transparency. So, with the block selected, just click, and magically, the tint goes away. And you can actually see out of the nice new bridge that you've created. This took me way too damn long to learn. But now that I know it, I'm sharing it with everybody. And that is it. That is a basic bridge, folks. Right there. All you need for your mining endeavors. Now, we figured that out. Let's take a look at figuring the rest of our problems out. One of which I had forgotten about until just now. Because drinking, you know. We need storage space on this thing for the ores and all the other little bits and pieces that we pick up on our travels. So, I'm going to create a regular cargo container. Bits and pieces for big boats, please. And harvest, ammo, container controller. And we are going to start those on either side of our pentaxid chamber there. They don't need to be accessible. You can access them from a menu or from the F4 key. So, I'm going to... Number 6, you are a what? Let's see. Harvest controller. You can go on that side. And regular container controller on that side. And then we're going to grab our container extensions and figure out the actual front of the ship here. Let's go... 5, 6, and 6. We have enough space to carry everything around that we need, don't we? And that's that. Ooh, I'm good. Not really, I just think I am. It's the alcohol talking. Alright. So, if I look at our container controller, 160,000, and the harvest is going to be about the same size. 168. Okay. More than enough to get started with. Now we just need a spot to put that ammo controller, which is still languishing back here somewhere. There we go. We are going to need to shoot somebody in the face at some point, so why don't we make that part of the ceiling up here. And then put in a few extra extensions for it. And that should just about take care of that. A little bit of extra room in there for extra devices if we need them. And again, the whole idea behind tonight is still, or tonight's episode, sorry, is still figuring out and feeling out this ship and finding out what its final form is going to be. When I go into these, I don't really have a finished product in mind a lot of the time. There's a few ships that do. The ones from my books specifically, I know what those look like, and those are the hardest. I try to make them look the way they looked in my head as much as I can, but the rest of the stuff I designed for this game, I start kind of with a lump of clay and I see where it takes me. And this one is taking me in a very long rectangle so far. Hoping it gets a little better. Let's see if we can't finish off a couple of things tonight and just make sure that going forward we only have to worry about aesthetics and that sort of thing. So, we've got warp, we've got pentaxid, we've got all the ship systems. Everything should work. We have a generator on board to start with anyway. We've got space up front. We can still have a cockpit up front if we need one. Let's just drag that out so we get an idea of scale. Yeah, capital ships are not small endeavors. They are big beastie things that require lots of careful planning if you want to get them right. Okay. I did want to take you out. worry about that one later. Maybe work on finishing off the bridge here. Now, generally, I like to keep bridges nice and low profile. It's more of a sleek look. I'm going to try that here. Might not work out, but I'm willing to give it a shot. So let's see, we'll go with cubes and ramps. Take a look around at what we have. I was thinking about working in half blocks for the total height. And that's going to mean either... dealing with chamfered edges and stuff like that's going to be a little bit tough. At the corners, what do we got working there? Those are all full. Yeah, not so much. Not sure I want to go there. Yeah, so I think it's going to be a slope up at the front and then just half blocks all the way back. So, let's see how we can make that happen. That's our slope. And we got to see where that fits. Yeah, see, it doesn't fit at the front. So we're going to need something a little different. Ramp C medium. Hello. Three of those, and then we do the rest in a half cube. Now, if you want to place anything on top of the bridge after doing something like this, you can. But you're going to have to bump it up because the game will not let you place anything directly on top of these, see? Wants to make it hover a little bit above. But that's dealing with voxels. Anyway, this is the bridge. Pretty much done. So now I'm going to go and crank out a couple of doors, just so that we can start thinking about sealing parts of the ship off when we need to. Alright, armored automatic doors are your friend. I'm going to go with about 3 for now. I don't think we have a need for too many more than that. But we are going to need 1 here. So, there you are. Now, even butted up against a wall like this, they will still work. They don't need to be flush with the surface, which is one of the things I love about them. And there's so many styles to choose from. Oh my god, look at them all. Really careful, though. Anything that's got glass in it, you want to make sure you take a real good hard look at it. See where it says airtight there on the bottom of the descriptor? And it says no. You don't want an armored door that isn't airtight. If you get attacked and holes get blown in the ship, these things might be the only thing keeping you breathing. So, make sure it says yes, like this one does. Or this one. Lots of these don't. Even the cool looking fully clear one. Ah, man, that's such a shame. All of these guys, though, these are all airtight. These came from Reforged Eden 2, so I do tend to stick with the ones that I know are going to work. There's one. That's what it looks like when it's closed. That's open. And that's closed. Let you look at all the pretty stuff. So, that one goes there. And the other one. Ooh. That is a weird little glitch, eh? Ha-ha! Might have to look into that. I didn't do it. Wasn't me. But there we go. There's our bridge door. So now the bridge is totally sealed off from the upper deck here. We've got room to move around on the top, which is always good. And up on the front bow here, once we're done laying everything in, You'll be able to install a couple of guns up here. You might be able to install another landing pad, whatever it is that you want, really. But being able to move around from the back to the front, always a good idea. Let's see. Anything else that I should let myself continue to show you tonight? I don't know. Ooh. That's uneven. Look at that. There. That's why the numbers didn't match up. Alright, so we got harvest, we have cargo, we have ammunition. About the only thing that we're missing from this thing is engines to get it up and going. So, that is going to be the focus of our next episode. Tonight, though, I'll finish off by just evening out a couple of things here and there. Maybe I've got 22 blocks left. Yeah, we'll close in the back here with those half blocks like we started with. So that we can see what the landing bay looks like when it's all finally put together. Go. Okay, and oh, not quite. Well, sun's coming up. I need to pour another shot. But for now, I think this fine lady is looking pretty good. Let me just take care of these. We know what's going in there. We don't need placeholders anymore. There's our engineering bay with the fuel and oxygen, ammo container up top, warp drive up front. Yeah. This is starting to become a capital ship, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you for joining me for the second part of this tutorial, and I want to apologize again for my state. But, you know, it's been a day. We have them every once in a while. And I'm not going to shield you from that. I hate the fucking nanny state. Yeah. This is Grim. Thanks for joining me. And until I see you next time, I'm signing off.